Did you know that IQ isn't just a human thing? Some animals on this list can outscore college students on memory tests. Some recognize their own reflection in a mirror, a skill almost no species on Earth actually has. Some hold a grudge against a specific person for years after meeting them exactly once. And the last animal on this list isn't just smart. It's smart in a way that barely involves a brain at all. No spine, blue blood, 3 separate hearts, and an intelligence so alien that it keeps outsmarting professional marine biologists in secured research tanks. Let's start with the one animal almost nobody expects to see on a smartest animals list. Pigs have a reputation problem. In pop culture, they're lazy, dirty, and frankly dinner. So when Purdue University researchers wanted to test animal cognition using a joystick-controlled video game, nobody expected pigs to be the ones that could actually play it. But 4 pigs, 2 Yorkshires and 2 miniature pigs, learned to nudge a joystick with their snouts to move a cursor on a screen and hit target walls for a food reward, performing significantly better than random chance across all 3 difficulty levels. Researchers called it a level of conceptual understanding they hadn't expected from a farm animal that had never been trained for anything like it. Separate studies have shown pigs can even learn to interpret a mirror, realizing the reflection isn't another pig, but a tool they can use to find hidden food in the room behind them. If a farm animal most people associate with mud and bacon can learn a video game control scheme, imagine what happens when a bird with a brain the size of a walnut outsmarts you and never forgets your face. Crows don't look like much. Black feathers, loud caw, a brain that weighs a fraction of an ounce. Most people walk past them without a second thought. But in 2010, researchers at the University of Washington in Seattle ran an experiment that changed how scientists talk about bird intelligence. They trapped and banded wild crows while wearing a specific, unique face mask. Years later, with no repeat encounters, crows that had been trapped would still scold and dive bomb anyone wearing that exact mask, while completely ignoring a different, neutral mask worn by the same person. Follow-up research confirmed the memory lasted at least 2.7 years, and crows that never experienced the original trapping learned to recognize the dangerous face too, just by watching how other crows reacted. Scientists have since found that crows have a brain region functioning almost like the human prefrontal cortex, packed with a neuron density among the highest of any known vertebrate. If a crow can remember a stranger's face for years after a single bad encounter, imagine an animal that doesn't just remember your face. It remembers your voice and calls you by name. Dolphins are one of the few species that pass the mirror test, the same experiment used to check self-awareness in toddlers. Show a dolphin a mark on its own body that it can only see in a mirror, and it will twist and turn to inspect that exact spot. Proof that it understands the reflection is itself and not another dolphin. But the real twist is how dolphins talk to each other. Every dolphin develops its own unique signature whistle early in life, essentially its own name. Researchers have found that dolphins don't just recognize their own signature whistle. They'll respond when another dolphin plays back a copy of it, even from a speaker with no other cues present, confirming dolphins actually use these whistles to call specific individuals by name across the open ocean. Combine that with coordinated group hunting strategies. Tool use. Some dolphins wear sea sponges on their beaks to protect themselves while foraging on the sea floor. And complex, multi-generational social bonds, and dolphins look less like an animal and more like an entirely different kind of mind operating underwater. If a dolphin can call a specific friend by name from across an ocean, imagine an animal big enough to remember that friend for the rest of its very long life. Elephants are famous for their memory. But the science behind it goes much further than never forgetting a face. In 2005, researchers at the Bronx Zoo gave 3 Asian elephants access to a massive wall-mounted mirror. After days of investigating it, one elephant named Happy was marked with a small visible X on her head using odorless paint, and a second, identical mark using paint she couldn't smell or feel. She ignored the second mark entirely, but used her trunk to repeatedly touch the visible X, proof she understood the reflection was her own body. Joining humans, great apes, and dolphins as one of the only animals ever confirmed to pass that test. Elephants also cooperate in ways that require real understanding of another mind. In a separate study, researchers set up a sliding table of food that could only be pulled within reach if 2 elephants pulled 2 separate ropes at exactly the same time. If only one elephant pulled, the rope slipped free and the food stayed out of reach. Paired elephants consistently waited for their partner to show up before pulling, and some even learned to stop a partner who tried to cheat by stepping on the rope instead of pulling it. If an elephant understands cooperation well enough to catch a cheating partner, imagine an animal that shares almost all of its DNA with us, and can out-remember a human adult without even trying. Chimpanzees share somewhere around 98 to 99% of their DNA with humans. And for most of scientific history, they've been treated as the closest thing to a benchmark for animal intelligence. Tool use, problem-solving, complex social politics, all just one evolutionary step removed from us. But in 2007, a young chimpanzee named Ayumu, at Kyoto University's Primate Research Institute in Japan, did something no human in the study could match. Researchers flashed the numbers 1 through 9 onto a touchscreen for a fraction of a second, then covered them with blank white squares. The task: touch the squares in the correct numerical order entirely from memory. At a viewing time of just 210 milliseconds, faster than a human eye can blink, Ayumu maintained around 80% accuracy. Trained human university students given months of practice at the exact same task couldn't come close. Researchers now believe chimpanzees may retain a kind of photographic short-term memory that humans lost somewhere along the evolutionary path toward complex language. For decades, an animal that could out-remember a human adult on camera would have been the obvious answer to, what's the smartest animal on Earth? But the last animal on this list isn't a mammal at all. It's not even a vertebrate, and by most measures it might be the smartest thing on this entire list. The octopus has no spine, no skeleton of any kind, 3 separate hearts and blue, copper-based blood instead of the iron-based red blood. Almost every animal on this list shares with humans. On paper, it shouldn't even be in the conversation, and yet of every animal ranked here, the octopus is the one that has most consistently outsmarted the humans trying to study it. In 2016, an octopus named Inky, living at the National Aquarium of New Zealand, vanished overnight. Staff eventually pieced together what happened from a trail of water on the floor. During a routine tank cleaning, the lid had been left slightly ajar. Inky pushed it open, crawled across the aquarium floor in the dark, found a drainage pipe roughly 15 centimeters wide, squeezed his entire boneless body through more than 50 meters of pipe, and dropped straight into the Pacific Ocean. No one saw it happen. He was never found again. Aquarium staff said it wasn't even unusual behavior. Octopuses are, in their words, famous escape artists, known for slipping out of supposedly sealed tanks and, in some documented cases, squeezing out at night just to raid the tank next door for food before sneaking back before morning. What makes this even stranger is that an octopus doesn't have a centralized brain the way every other animal on this list does. More than half of its neurons are distributed directly in its 8 arms, meaning each arm can problem solve and react almost independently, like 8 separate limbs each doing their own thinking. Octopuses in lab settings have been documented unscrewing jars from the inside to escape, using coconut shells as portable armor, and recognizing individual human researchers well enough to consistently squirt water at the ones they didn't like. And they do all of this despite living just 1 to 2 years on average, with zero contact with a parent to teach them anything. Every skill an octopus displays, it worked out completely on its own. So the smartest animal on this entire list might not be the one closest to us on the evolutionary tree. It might be the one that evolved intelligence on a completely separate branch, with a completely different kind of brain, and figured out how to outplan, out-escape, and outsmart us anyway. From a farm animal that can learn a video game, to a bird that never forgets a grudge, to an invertebrate that broke out of a locked aquarium overnight. These 6 animals prove that intelligence doesn't always look the way we expect it to. Which of these 6 surprised you the most? Was it the pig everyone underestimates, or the octopus that outsmarted an entire aquarium staff? Tell me in the comments. I rate every single one. If this video changed the way you look at animal intelligence forever, hit that like button. It genuinely helps this channel grow. And if you want more stories like this, subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next one.